Discord was kicking while I was away this afternoon. It turns out that the fine folks at DR Studios appeared for an Ask Me Anything on the Terraria Discord, where they obviously answered players' questions about mobile Terraria 1.3. And there's some really good stuff in here, so keep watching this video to get an earful of knowledge dropped on you from the source itself. Let's begin with Xenopunk, who posed this question from Snickers Tag, who had asked, will there be mods for mobile Terraria 1.3? Xenopunk wrote, not sure, they'll have to be baked into build and approved by Apple and Google during submission, and then who is responsible for support of that mod, us or the original mod developer? Bit of a minefield. And that's consistent with other things they've said. It sounds like a real challenge. But anyway, let's carry on. Naviskio had been asked what DR stands for, and he said Deep Red Studios, but that's a very old name. Xenopunk was back with a question from Doofy Cash, will mobile be updated anymore? His answer, of course, which is excellent news. Angry Hippo, another member of the team, had a question from Lemon Will Destroy, who had asked, how soon can we expect controller support? Angry Hippo wrote, we are going to be moving on to controller support and customizations right after we get through all the current issues we have with the initial release. Xenopunk had this question from McNugget. Any chance that we can zoom out even further in the future? Xenopunk wrote, we're happy to receive feedback and make adjustments, yes, although there may be performance implications. I don't think my phone can handle that. Naviskio had been asked, will old controls come back? And he wrote, next hotfix, there will be new jump options coming as we definitely listen to all feedback. The new controls are intentionally done as they to future-proof for all the future updates coming, but we definitely hear you and want to make sure everyone is happy with their time in Terraria. So they're definitely still tinkering, and don't be afraid to submit feedback because evidently they are listening. Xenopunk had been asked by Amtob, will we ever have a customizable controls for mobile Terraria? Xenopunk wrote, yes, we're already working on that, early stages, but already promising. And I would in particular like that, because I'd like to tweak the controls on my system for sure. RoboArms had a question from Ken Rowland today, why there are two tooltip fade toggles if only one functions? The answer, there are two types of tooltips, one for things like the health fade or the smart cursor on-off text, and one for the item tooltips when the inventory is open. So there you go. It's a little bit of a confusing question and answer, but there you have it. Xenopunk was asked by Ibrahim, do you plan on making it easier to host online, similar to how Minecraft lets people play online? Xenopunk wrote, for sure, needs some back-end infrastructure work, but it's on our wish list. Angry Hippo had a question from 7-page Wall of Flesh Beatdown, now there's a name, who had asked, will there be an option to move every single shortcut button in Terraria Mobile? The jump button is kind of jarringly placed. Angry Hippo wrote to that, we are definitely looking into it, and have had the prototypes up and running in the past with this in place. Naviskio had been asked, what was the most annoying obstacle in development? Naviskio's answer, making sure that the feeling of the true Terraria was there, and well, making sure things are future-proof. If you want something technical, multiplayer is probably the biggest challenge we had, I'd say. Angry Hippo had a question from Solarium T, who had asked, will mobile be more optimized in future updates? Angry Hippo wrote, yes, I'm always looking to try and improve the performance of the game. I do really want to spend quite some more time optimizing the game more. Well, Angry Hippo, I can say my Galaxy S7 tips its hat to you. It thanks you, however you want to phrase it, because I, for one, would greatly appreciate further optimization, and I'm probably not the only one with a phone that tends to chug at certain times during gameplay. Moving along, Xenopunk had been asked by anti-potato fumes. What was the most annoying obstacle in development? Xenopunk's answer? Probably the multiplayer. We got it working very quickly, but then it took weeks to iron out all the bugs. Ended up rewriting the networking system at low level, and now it's flawless. Naviskio had been asked, speaking of game-breaking bugs, are you guys aware that we can craft items using the guide NPC? I hadn't known that, but Naviskio's answer, the guide just loves giving away items. Fixed very soon though. Not sure how I missed it since I'm the master exploiter. Angry Hippo had been asked by Harley Quinn, will Journey's End eventually come to mobile? His answer, of course it will. And once again, we have that definitive answer that 1.4 is coming to mobile. I know they've said stuff like that before, but to hear it from the source is excellent news, because as big as mobile 1.3 is, and it may not be surpassed in terms of the extent of the changes, the Journey's End patch is going to be another mega patch, and so it's definitely something you'll want on your mobile devices. RoboArms had answered this question from DoofyCash11. What's the funniest glitch you guys encountered? And this was interesting. RoboArms wrote, the treetops were broken for a while, and RoboArms shared this image. And if you've ever played an old Nintendo Entertainment System game, it's almost like how they recycle sprites and by rotating them and changing colors. It just looks a little off, doesn't it? But evidently they fixed it, because they certainly look just fine now. Xenopunk had a question from Doot, who had asked, we will get crossplay someday? Xenopunk's answer, we can all dream. Now, that is one of my pet theories, but that's not the most reassuring answer, so maybe there are just too many technical and legal challenges to that sort of thing. I know that Google and Apple are pretty protective of their platforms, as are the console developers, so I guess we just have to wait and see. Xenopunk had a question from, of all people, Loki, who's normally the one answering questions, but this time the tables were turned, and Loki had posed this question. Name one random fact or fun tidbit about working on Terraria that you find interesting. It cannot be anything you have shared so far. Xenopunk's answer to that, this 1.3 update for mobile is actually using the original PC source code and is not based on the previous 1.2 code at all. Now we kind of knew that, but I didn't realize it used the original PC source code. I thought it was more just kind of in line with the PC code. I'm not a coder myself, but I didn't realize that they had sourced that original code, so that's interesting. Angry Hippo had a question from Magician Bird, who had written, it's funny because the team forgot adding Phase Saber. I wonder how the beta tester can miss that. The answer, what's even funnier, we had fixed them earlier in the development of the game as they weren't working. However, when we put the localization into the game later on, they got broken. I'm really sorry. The patch which is currently in test, which should be with you shortly, will fix this. Thousands of items in this game, and sometimes things get missed. Xenopunk had a question from Futinga. Any performance fixing? The answer, yes. Lots. And again, my phone thanks you. Angry Hippo had another question from that same user. Will controller usage change the user interface in any way? I mean, removing some of the touch controls. The answer, yes, we will be adapting the user interface when a physical controller is being utilized to run the game, including removing all the on-screen virtual controller. And that's certainly good, because one of the things I'm finding is when I'm using the mobile controls, my hands get in the way of the screen itself. It's unavoidable, and so anything they can do to declutter the small mobile screen if I'm using a controller is definitely welcome. Angry Hippo had a question from Shizdip. Can we get the auto-organize button like on PC? The answer, we are keen to keep everything in sync with the PC gameplay experience. So if there's a feature in the PC version of the patch we are working on, we aim to get that functionality into the mobile version too. Naviskio had another mod question. Will you guys put in mods? His answer, Never saying never, but outside of PC, mobile is complicated to get mods on due to Google and Apple having very strict requirements. We will try our best, but no promises. And then finally, Angry Hippo had this question from Futinga. Will there be an option to remove some of the buttons? Like, the quick buff seems useless to me. The answer? Yes. And I'll include a link to the full transcript of the Q&A, but that's it. I kind of curated the list of questions and answers. Maybe removed some kind of color commentary on favorite foods and kind of kept it focused on development issues. So there you go. Anyway, that's it for now. I do appreciate DR team coming on Discord and sharing that knowledge. It's nice to get an inside look at past development and also future development. So thanks again, DR Studios. Anyway, that's it for now. So thanks for watching. Stay tuned to the channel. I'm sure there'll be more to post in the near future. See you all soon.